In this video, I'm gonna show you 5 tricks which help you to prepare yourself for the exams as good as possible. Let's start with tip number 1. Organization is the key to success. Before you start with the learning, you should get an overview of the stuff for your exam. Collect all important information like lecture notes, documentations, task sheets, PowerPoint presentations, and then ask yourself the question, what's important for the exam? Yes, I know after that there's still a lot of stuff remaining you have to learn. Probably you can't see the wood for the trees and you get frustrated. Because of that, you should make small pieces of the stuff you have to learn. Then create a learning plan. Write down for every day what your tasks are and how many hours you'll learn. After that, it becomes much easier and you will be more relaxed because you know exactly what you have to do and when you have to do it. This helps you to be more relaxed during the learning phase. You also create more space and more structure for your days, and you have more time for things like, for example, playing tennis or going out with your friends. You should also create some rituals which give your day more structure. For example, in the morning you're learning in the library for your own. You concentrate on summaries and new stuff. Then you go for lunch with your friends, and in the afternoon you repeat the new stuff you learned in the morning with your learning group or for your own. In the end, you should find the way which works as best for you. Let's look at tip number 2. Study in a similar place as in the exam. This tip is based on the principle of encoding specificity. This means that you can remember things better when you learn them in similar conditions like the exam will be. I know that sounds a little bit confusing. Let's make an example. The British psychologist Alan Baddeley has discovered this effect 50 years ago. He did a study about how do the water temperature and the diving depth influence the work performance of professional divers. For that, the divers had to read a text about some shipwrecks. Then, Alan tested how much information they can remember. After that, he discovered something special. It didn't make a difference if the divers are in the water or on shore, as long as the learning and the testing is in the same environment. If the learning was in the water and the testing was on shore, then the divers performed very badly. The same when the learning was on shore and the testing was in the water. After second testing, Alan Baddeley showed that divers who learned and wrote the test in the same environment were able to remember more than 40% more than the divers who learned and wrote the test in different environments. I know for the university it's not possible to learn the whole stuff in the room where the exam will take place, but you can study in the library. That's better than at home. The environment is more similar to the exam location and you're surrounded by students like in exam. If you have oral exams, then it can help to simulate this interview with your friends or your family. Let's move to the next tip. Tip number 3. You shouldn't only read the stuff, work with different senses. The more senses you activate, the better for your brain and your long-time memory. If you only read the papers and highlight the keywords, then you don't really learn the stuff. As you probably heard, for long-time learning success, it's very important that you use many senses as you can. The more, the better. A lot of academic studies has shown that the more senses you use when you're learning, the more information you can remember. Let's look at the diagram. The first bar is if we only read the text. We can only remember 10% of the information. If we hear a text, then we can remember a little bit more. We can remember 20%. If we observe when someone's doing something, for example, on a YouTube video, then we can remember up to 30%. If we can hear and watch something, then we can remember 70% of the information. And now it comes. If we do the thing by our own, then we can remember more than 90% of the information. This means if you want to learn something really fast and for a longer period of time, then learning by doing is your key to success. But how we can transform this to our exam at university? You'll remember more of a book if you think about the questions your teacher will probably ask you in an exam. Then you try to answer them in your mind. Experiments has shown that people who are reading a text and think actively about their questions, then they can remember more than people who are only reading the text without thinking about it. For me, one of my favorite things are summaries and then explaining the stuff to other people. If you explain the stuff to someone, then you can see if you have understood the things properly. In case you don't have a body to explain the stuff, you can also explain it to yourself. Let's jump to tip number 4. Don't study everything at once. Most people know it. Learning all the stuff the night before the exam is not the best strategy, but a lot of people are doing it nevertheless. When your only goal is to pass the exam, then this would be enough. But if you must remember the stuff until the next semester, then you should change something. You should learn the stuff in small steps and over a longer period of time. It's also important that your learning sessions aren't too long. We only can stay concentrated over a period of 30 to 50 minutes. Then we must take a break. The process of memory consolidation takes part when you sleep. Because of that, you should sleep enough during your studying period before your exam. Now, tip number 5. Stay organized. Before you start with the studying, you should get an overview about all the stuff you have to learn. Collect all the important things like PowerPoint slides, summaries, exercises, and all the exams. Then you have to ask yourself what's important for the exam. This helps you to get an overview and not be overwhelmed with information. With this strategy, you don't have to climb a huge mountain. You have different smaller hills to climb. It's also important to create a learning schedule. This helps you to stay focused and gives you also enough time for other things like doing sport, etc. In your studying time before an exam, you should also create some fixed rituals. Let's make an example. In the morning, you learn by your own at home. You write summaries and look at all exams. Then for dinner you meet your friends at university. In the afternoon, you discuss together about the different topics. Now we come to the last point of today. The nutrition. Probably you think, why nutrition? I'm not a professional athlete. Then I must say, you're one. You're a professional athlete and your discipline is your study. Because of that, it's crucial that food is healthy and balanced. A big cheeseburger is not ideal food before an exam, because your body needs too much energy to digest so much fat, and your brain doesn't have enough energy to work. Okay, that's it for today. Let's make a short recap what we've learned today. Organization is the key to success. Study in a similar place as the exam takes place. You shouldn't only read the stuff, work with different senses. Don't learn everything at once. Stay organized, and the nutrition is more important than you think. I hope these tips will help you with your future exams. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next video.